Welcome to Preppers Community. If you're concerned about safety and want to protect yourself in an emergency, pay close attention because the items I'm about to share with you may be confiscated by FEMA during a crisis, and you don't want to lose them. We're talking about essential gear that could make all the difference when things go south. Stick with me until the end so you don't miss a thing. Alright, let's talk about the big one, firearms. This is a topic that stirs up a lot of emotions and opinions, but it's crucial to understand the full picture. The Second Amendment guarantees the right to bear arms, and for many of us, that's non-negotiable. It's a fundamental part of our identity and our history. It's about protecting your family, your property, your very way of life. Firearms offer a sense of security and empowerment that many believe is essential in today's world. But here's the thing, in a major emergency, FEMA might see things differently. When disaster strikes, the government's priorities can shift dramatically. They might claim they need to maintain order, prevent chaos, and their solution could be to disarm citizens. This is where the conflict between individual rights and public safety becomes most apparent. Think about Hurricane Katrina. There were reports of law enforcement confiscating firearms from law-abiding citizens. This was a wake-up call for many, highlighting the potential for government overreach. So, what can you do? First off, know your rights. Knowledge is power, and understanding your legal standing is the first step in protecting yourself. Get familiar with your state's laws regarding firearm ownership and confiscation during emergencies. Each state has different regulations, and being informed can make all the difference. Consider discreet storage options. There are ways to keep your firearms secure and out of sight. Hidden compartments, secure safes, and other methods can ensure your weapons are both accessible and protected. Your right to protect yourself is paramount. In times of uncertainty, being prepared and knowledgeable can provide peace of mind and security for you and your loved ones. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay safe. Let's move on to another essential tool: tactical knives and survival blades. These are serious tools designed for self-defense, cutting through tough materials, and surviving in the wild. But in a crisis, authorities might not see the difference between a tactical blade and a weapon. They might see anything sharp as a potential threat and decide it's safer if they just take it off your hands. So what's the solution? Discretion is key. Choose a knife that's appropriate for your needs, and when you're not using it, keep it securely stored and out of sight. A good knife is indispensable, but we need to be smart about how we carry and display them. Alright, let's talk about non-lethal options, pepper spray, and other self-defense sprays. These are great tools to have on hand because they can temporarily incapacitate an attacker without causing permanent harm. But in a state of emergency, authorities might be concerned about anything that could contribute to panic or unrest. Imagine a scenario where there's a riot or a mass evacuation and people start using pepper spray indiscriminately. So, it's not far-fetched to think that FEMA or other agencies might restrict access to pepper spray during a crisis. It's an important tool for personal safety, and I highly recommend carrying it. But be aware of the potential for confiscation, and be prepared to comply with the authorities if necessary. Chapter 4: Bows and Arrows, Ancient Tools, Modern Concerns. Let's talk about a more traditional form of self-reliance: bows and arrows. These ancient tools have been used for thousands of years, not just for hunting but also for protection and sport. They hold a significant place in human history and culture. We're talking about high-quality bows that can take down game and provide sustenance in a survival situation. These bows are crafted with precision and care, designed to be both powerful and accurate. They can be a lifeline in the wilderness, offering a reliable means to secure food. But in the eyes of the authorities, a bow and arrow can easily be classified as a weapon, just like a firearm. This classification brings with it a set of legal considerations and responsibilities. It's important to understand the laws in your area regarding the ownership and use of bows and arrows. In a grid-down scenario where law and order have broken down, someone walking around with a bow and arrow could be perceived as a threat. The sight of a weapon, even an ancient one, can cause fear and misunderstanding among people who are already on edge. So, what's the takeaway? If you're going to own a bow and arrow, make sure you're proficient in its use. Regular practice is essential to maintain your skills and ensure that you can use the bow effectively and safely. Join a local archery club or take lessons to improve your technique. Be mindful of how and where you store and transport it. Keeping your bow in a secure case can prevent accidents and protect it from damage. When transporting it, make sure it is not easily accessible to avoid any potential legal issues. Be prepared to comply with the authorities if they deem it necessary to confiscate your bow and arrow during a crisis. Understanding and respecting the rules can help you navigate these situations more smoothly. Always stay informed about the regulations and be ready to adapt as needed. Chapter 5: Expandable Batons. When you need a little extra reach. Let's talk about another self-defense tool: expandable batons. These are telescoping metal sticks that can be quickly extended to provide a surprising amount of reach and impact. But authorities might not see the difference between an expandable baton and a weapon like a club or a nightstick. So, what's the solution? Discretion is key. If you choose to carry an expandable baton, keep it concealed and out of sight. Be aware that you might be asked to surrender it to authorities in a crisis situation. Chapter 6: Stun Guns and Tasers, Electrifying Options, Shocking Restrictions. Let's talk about another category of self-defense tools: stun guns and tasers. These devices use electrical currents to temporarily incapacitate an attacker, giving you time to escape or call for help. But in an emergency situation, authorities might be concerned about anything that could cause widespread panic or injury. So it's not far-fetched to think that FEMA or other agencies might restrict access to these devices during a crisis. They can be valuable tools for personal safety, and I encourage you to research the laws in your area and consider carrying one if it's legal. But be aware of the potential for confiscation. Be prepared to comply with the authorities if necessary. Chapter 7: Tactical Flashlights, Shining a Light on Potential Confiscation. Let's talk about a piece of gear that might seem harmless: tactical flashlights. These aren't your everyday household flashlights, they are designed with specific features that make them stand out. We're talking about high-lumen LED flashlights with features like strobe modes, crenulated bezels, and durable construction. These features are not just for show, they serve practical purposes in various situations. They're designed for everything from signaling for help in emergencies to disorienting an attacker in self-defense scenarios. The strobe mode, for instance, can be incredibly disorienting, giving you precious seconds to react. But in a crisis situation, authorities might see those features as potential threats. The very attributes that make these flashlights useful can also make them suspect in the eyes of law enforcement. They might be concerned that the strobe mode could trigger seizures or that the crenulated bezel could be used as a weapon. These concerns are not unfounded, as misuse of these features can indeed cause harm. So, what's the solution? Discretion is key. It's important to be aware of how your gear is perceived by others, especially in tense situations. If you choose to carry a tactical flashlight, be mindful of how and when you use it. Use it responsibly, and avoid drawing unnecessary attention to yourself. Avoid shining it in people's faces unnecessarily, and be prepared to comply with the authorities if they ask you to put it away. Being cooperative and respectful can go a long way in ensuring that your gear is not confiscated. Remember, the goal is to have a useful tool that can help you in emergencies, not to create additional problems. By using your tactical flashlight wisely and responsibly, you can avoid potential issues and keep this valuable tool at your disposal. Chapter 8: Body Armor, Shielding Yourself from Confiscation Concerns. Let's talk about a piece of gear that's literally designed to protect you: body armor, specifically bulletproof vests. In a world where violence seems to be on the rise, it's understandable why more and more people are considering investing in this type of protection. But body armor is often subject to regulations and restrictions, and in a crisis situation those restrictions could become even tighter. So, what's the solution? Discretion is key. If you choose to own body armor, be discreet about it. Don't wear it in public unless absolutely necessary, and be prepared to comply with the authorities if they ask you to remove it or surrender it. So what do you think of these potential restrictions? Don't wait, prepare yourself now. These items could be confiscated at any moment, so always stay a step ahead. The bottom line is this: knowledge is power. If you want more tips on how to prepare for what's coming, make sure to subscribe to Preppers Community and hit the notification bell.